You went from researcher with insight to CEO and really an advocate for this new approach to obesity. That requires all sorts of different skill sets, way beyond curiosity, right? Was that transition hard?
Oh my God, it's a grinding process, right? It's a keep. I mean, for me, I don't have an MBA from Harvard, so to speak, right? And then I work with people with those degrees or exposed to people with those. It's great to have it, but I didn't think I needed it in order to succeed in my quest. And then somehow it's all about how much you wanted it sometimes. And I think being curious, being cordial to your heart and to people, and being proactively seeking out for help, for mentorship. And there are a lot of good people out there who want to help you if you're cordial, if you're honest, if you tell them what you need, tell them what you don't have. They will jump in to help you if they see that, and especially when you have a very good cause, which I do, right? Helping a lot of people to be healthier, to innovative, and merging this two amazing powers together. One is genomics, one is food is medicine. So it's not hard to convince people to be to listen to me, so to speak. But in order to find a few, you just need a few. Sometimes you just need one person who believe in you, but will compliment you or teach you, to bridge you so that you could break that gap just enough that you could succeed. A lot of times it's not about you have to learn everything, but you need to realize what are you missing and who will have those skills and knowledge, experiences and hearts and minds to complement you to get the job done. And I think over time, people always say wonderful things about one of my superpowers is never shy of asking for help and never very good at spotting talent to work with me.
At the risk of getting too vulnerable, I'm thinking about all the men listening to this podcast right now, listening to two women chatting like, I am on the verge of tears listening to you speak, because I talk to a lot of people, I interview a lot of people, and they all have the answers. They all have the answers. They just want to explain how it's supposed to look, what leadership looks like, or what they did to win, and your response is, I didn't have all the answers. I asked for help. It's like real humility, not the kind of humility that people lecture about you needing to have, but it's like actual humility, and it comes across, and I can see why people would want to help you, because you have this really sincere way of communicating, and it feels like the story about your mother, everyone has a story about their mother in some ways, everyone's thing is spurned by some childhood thing. And so you have that too, but it also just feels like you really want to make a difference in the world, and not in the way that gets attention, but really actually impacts the world. So I just appreciate you. Thank you for being a role model.
Oh, no, not at all. Now I'm, you make my face red. No, I just don't think we all figured it out, right? And yes, we are capable in life, and we know how to manage this and that. And I don't think your audience need to necessarily know that from me. But I think the attitude is something it's hard to learn. And I do think if you always have that attitude of learning, you will never stop to grow, right? And I know a lot of people that are super capable, very highly experienced and accomplished and successful in their definitions, but they stop growing because they don't have that right attitude. And that's a personal choice. There's nothing wrong with it. So, but that's not me. I will continue feeling I know so much less than what is unknown there. And I wanted to fill that gap. And I think I'll probably just grow until the day I die or something,
Yeah. So let me throw you a curveball here. I mean, if I were to look at this without knowing you, without learning about your story, without doing the research, and I just see an advertisement for this, my reaction is, yeah, right. Does that really work? I mean, it feels like another gimmick. It could be, right? I mean, you've got Ozempic now, which, I mean, I saw Sharon Osbourne took Ozempic and she looks wildly different. That clearly works, right? This drug. There's all sorts of things that I'm being sold, though, all the time. And there's a certain skepticism that I bring to everything. So I don't even know how it works to know that it does work by having spoken to you. But for the people who don't get to see you and talk to you, right, and see this authenticity just dripping out of you, how do you communicate in a marketing capacity authentic solutions that aren't just a way to get people's money? Because I think people are always wondering, am I getting sold snake oil right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a very valid and insightful question. Well, we deal with that all the time, every day, from day one until today, because it's nutritional genetics is a new field. We in medical school, back up a little bit, genomics is a new field for medicine, right? The most experienced doctors today, good doctors, they didn't get enough education, or sometimes no education in genetics, which is completely missing, right? Everybody has a genome that is the code determined. It's your user's manual for health when you're born to this world. How could we not understand it and apply that to your health care? Right? It just doesn't make sense. And then the world started realizing it, and we have a lot of new curriculum at the medical school to amend it. But at the same time, there's, again, all the experienced doctors which we rely on for our healthcare don't have that knowledge and tools, right? So that's one thing. I'm talking about fundamental genetics for cancer genetics, for Alzheimer's, for prenatal planning and all that. And then now let's narrow down to nutritional genomics for metabolism. That's metabolic health. That's what I've been devoting my whole career life and until today's endeavors at Genopilot for. And we know your genetic code is black and white, whether, as I shared earlier in the FTO, probably 1,000 of those stories at the time. But as it speaks, it's black and white. You inherit one chromosome allele for any locations. You have 3.2 billion of those. 1.6 from your mother and 1.6. Did I make my math right? Yeah, 3.2 total. So the other half is from father. And then that's how we're so diversified, right? And then your mother comes with her 2 copies of father and mother, and they marry, and then they have you, and that's why we're so beautifully unique. That's really how humans evolved, is evolving through the passing along generational, transmission of your genetic code. Mostly the mutations that makes you stronger, right? They're in the first place. If they precipitate, meaning they stay in. Some of them just dilute it out because it doesn't make any difference. But for something like, for example, I'm lactose intolerant because of my Asian ancestry for that nutritional loci, and for Eastern African, Northern Europeans, or we call Caucasian populations, they develop that mutation so they can digest the sugar in milk. That gives them an advantage for survival, right? And then the genes are so smart, and over several generations, we're talking about hundreds of years, they will have stronger babies, and babies grow up and make even stronger babies, right? And then that's how the mutations stay. So that's when, as a scientist, as a geneticist, it's overwhelmingly real, right, and powerful. So once you know that, you just, like to your earlier point, you know this tool, you know that can potentially help a lot of people, and how could you not to want to give it to people? So that's my positioning. That's the positioning of a truly science, evidence-based science technology platforms like GenoPilot is in. So we stay true to evidence. We stay true to our observation, and we're still learning. We have our own one of the largest nutritional genomics wellness study in the field. We have tens of thousands study participants. I would never have such a big study cohort if I stayed in medical school, because it takes forever to enroll and it's very expensive to enroll. But our customers, we sponsor the research. We pay to maintain the research. We don't ask them to do anything, just say yes. So then we can have access to their de-identified information, create new knowledge for the world to know. We will publish, we'll go through the peer-to-peer review system like we did as a researcher in the medical school. And people jump in to say yes. Lots of people participated that way. So I think once you see the face of truth, you have the confidence, and then you are empowered.